Have you found in the last 2 weeks, I mean, I know you haven't been here, but have you found since you've been back the mold explosion since all the damp has been in the air? Like we have also been doing cleaning, but it's mainly like I have those moisture absorbers all through the house. But just this week, we noticed like all our clothes covered in mildew, all our boots covered in mildew. So we've had everything outside. We've had the white vinegar out, and it's obviously like I remember it sort of happening this time last year, but it felt like because of all the water we've had in the last like 2 months, it's just the house is just filled with kind of little water molecules, and that there's something about that mold. I don't know what the aversion is, like what the phobia is, but I get really grossed out by it. There's something about it's like you know how Beetlejuice has those little kind of moldy bits around his mouth. There's something about it that makes me want to vomit. Are you the same?
Well, there's also the thing that if you get too much of it in your lungs, you die. So that is really the aversion I have. It's less the Beetlejuice thing and more that if you get it in your lungs, you die. I had to say to somebody yesterday, I coughed and I was like, it's okay. I've been cleaning out like it's black mold out of the walls and the cough is from that. I've been wearing my same mask. See, it's good to have a mask in this community, at least for the black mold. I wonder if those people with the medical exemptions are going, no, I also have a medical exemption to black mold. It's fine. I can clean it out. But I was talking to a guy at my show last night in the audience, and he was a cleaner by profession, had been a cleaner for 20 years and 15 years, I think he said.
Like and I asked, cleaner or just a regular cleaner?
Just a regular cleaner. Okay. And I asked him about the fact that I said, what's best for cleaning out mold? I said, I've been cleaning out like an entire sort of cottage full of mold in the last 3 days. I've had the mask on. I've been scrubbing the walls. I've done this like clove treatment. I'm like, what's the best thing to do? And he said, well, if you're down here, vinegar. Like in this community, vinegar. And he said, but like I'm up towards the border, bleach. And I said, what did you mean by that? And he goes, I said, do you mean that just people down here, bleach is better, but people down here don't want to use bleach? And he was just like, yes, 100%. That is the case. So,
because vinegar is organic or more natural or something. Is that the idea?
Yeah. Yeah. The reason that everyone's like, you've got to get vinegar is because we live in a place where people think you can solve everything with fucking vinegar. But this guy, Mr. fucking cleaner, he's like, as soon as you get up near the border, we're bringing out the bleach, mate. Sure, that's maybe why we keep voting for the National Party, but we're bleaching everything. We're losing whatever brain cells. We don't remember if it's been hotter or wetter than this. We don't remember anything. My brain is full of bleach.
Did you see that the 5G tower in Mullumbimby was set on fire a couple of days ago?
Burnt down. Yeah, good time to do that, isn't it?
Yeah.
In the middle of a communications disaster. Let's burn down that 5G tower.
I went to the comments.
I mean, come on. Like, it's one of those things where it's just... You could, because they don't know who burnt it down yet. It doesn't necessarily mean it was burnt down by 5G activists. It could have just been random vandalism.
Well, what was funny is that Telstra, the way they let people know, it was a sponsored post. It came up in my Instagram feed as a sponsored post, a shot of their 5G tower, and underneath it said sponsored. I'm like, okay, well, that's an interesting marketing technique. But then I clicked on all the comments, and I was not heartened by the response to the burning 5G tower. Like a lot of people would take an angle that I hadn't thought of, which is like, you sneaky corporate fascist pigs tried to erect this during a disaster. And yeah, we showed you. And it's like, don't think you understand what's going on here.
Isn't it amazing? Because they don't trust the government, and for good reason, because it turns out when they needed the government wasn't there for them. But at the same time, that is the ultimate example of cutting off your nose to spite your face. Like the one thing that people up here have been suffering from the most is the lack of communication. There are people trapped in areas where they can't actually access back out, but also they can't communicate with each other. And the idea that in a time like that, when all the other nodes are underground, like underwater, like that's part of the reason that all the communications have gone down is the nodes are under the waterline. So that feels like something that we could fix, if nothing else, like for future. And then the fact that there's this 5G tower that could actually be helpful, and you know what we should do? Burn that down. Yeah.
I mean, it might have been me who burnt it down, because after all my research and getting those 2 5G dongles delivered, and then we had to abort last week's recording because it was running so slow. Again, on the following day, I tried to upload what we'd recorded and it was taking forever. And I got on the phone with Telstra and I was like, it's running slower than my fixed wireless. Like the whole reason I ordered these dongles for me and my partner was, you know, we live in a rural area. This is meant to help our business. And the woman on the phone was so cheery. She's like, oh no, that's not the case. She's going, whoever told you that, they got it wrong. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? They got it wrong. I was on the phone with them for an hour. I told them, gave them specific details about what my issue was, what I needed. And they sold me not one, but two. You know, they're not cheap. Signed up for a 1-year contract. And by the way, that contract is void. I'm going to climb a tower and set fire to something unless this is very, very quickly. To see the full video, join our Patreon.
Patreon.com/TOFOP.